exchanged numbers and we stayed in touch with each other. And I remember after we left, we all did pretty well with our follow-up checkup. So when we left, we just feel it's a normal thing. We'll be back and probably see each other in a couple months. But when we left, one of my friends that same week, he got that phone call. And then he flew up and got his heart. Everything went well for him. So we're excited now because all of us are up there same time in March. And a month later, two of the other guys got the same phone call and their heart was put in. So everybody's now doing the math. Oh man, hey, everybody look like it's just going down the list. We're all gonna have them soon. And so in July of that same year, about 3 months later, my other friend got his call. And he got his heart in and everything was successful. So the only one left is myself. And so everyone is now on a different regimen than I'm on now. They have to learn to do some things differently now that they have their organ now. And so I'm the only one left, but we continue to call each other. They just kept me encouraged, They said, hey man, your day got to happen. It's only right. All of us has got us in a certain sequence. He said, yours got to come. So the months went by and the months went by. And, when you get into the lane that I was in, you build a brotherhood and sisterhood because it's women and men that have the same need that you have. So you exchange numbers and you stay in touch and you can reach out to each other and keep us encouraged. Something that I may have an issue with, someone may have went through that and can explain to me through group sessions and communication to make it easier for me. So I'm encouraged. And now the time comes when I met another gentleman that I'd been talking to here in Atlanta for probably over a year, but I'd never seen him. And he was in the lane that I was in. And I was communicating with him what had worked for me. And pretty soon he had to have the LVAD surgery. And it was real strange how I met him. I had went back for a follow-up and I had a little glitch. And I was on the floor for a few days and I saw his name right across from my room. And I just chuckled to myself. I said, I've been talking to this brother over a year. And he doesn't know I'm getting ready to meet him. So I called him on the phone and asked how he was doing. I knew he had just got his LVAD. And so as I was talking to him, I just walked right across to his room. And his wife and his mom was there. And it was just the funniest thing because that's how I met him. And I talked to him over a year about things that he might need to expect. So we had a good time there and had a meeting. So we both were discharged around the same time and we came home. And so my next appointment in October, he was on the same plane as I was. He was going to get a follow-up. This was his first one, and I don't know what number was for me, but I had been going a lot of times. So we were on the plane together, and we conversed. And his mom was with him, and my wife was with myself. And so we went up for our checkup. We got home. And of course, we called each other, and they put him on the ready list, the list that I spoke about earlier that didn't work out for me the year before. And I told him, hey, man, that's exciting there, man. Hopefully this one will get you in there and you get your heart, So he said, yeah, he was hoping so. But I knew me and my wife was out and she was going to go home to Louisiana for a few days. So afterwards, she got everything together and she got on the bus to go home. I was home and I could take care of myself pretty well and, make sure my bandages and my areas were clean where the port was for my LVAD. And so when it was time for her to come back on Sunday, of course, I picked her up. And she got in, and I had already grabbed something for her to eat for dinner. And we came home. And so we did our usual thing where she got unpacked and freshened up, and she was very tired. So she went to bed early. And I was flipping channels a little bit on the television, and I got in bed a little bit later. And before I could fall asleep good, you know, I had the television on, and the phone rang. And it's probably around 1:30, between 1:30 and 2 a.m. And I looked at the number, and the area code was a Nashville area code. So now I'm thinking in my mind, they don't usually call me at this time of the morning for anything. So I answer the phone, and I pick it up, and the medical person on the other line said, "Smith, you awake?" I said, "Well, I am now." And she wanted me to verify who I was by telling her, of course, my social and all of that. And she told me that they had a heart for me. So by this time, I said, "Hold on a minute, ma'am. Say that again." So I put the speakerphone on. My wife has gotten up now in the bed, and she said it again. "We have a heart for you." And of course, my wife began to thank God that finally this day we waited on since 2015 is here now. So of course we call family members and everything because we had a plan of action that they have you participate in, and you have a few numbers that you have to call. And this is way back when I got the LVAD. So we did all of the due diligence that they told us to do to make sure those numbers worked. They knew who we were. And when we got that call, everything would go seamlessly. So when we got that information, of course, we were back and forth with them on the line up there in Nashville. And we contacted the people here in Atlanta. So soon after those things happened, they dispatched the emergency unit down to us, to our address. And when they got here, my wife had this bag at the foot of our bed, and it had clothes and everything we needed. We just packed a few little hygiene things, and when they knocked on the door, it was time to go. So we're in this emergency vehicle, has a bed and everything. Of course, they asked me the general questions and check my pressures and all of that. And pretty soon we're off. We're heading to the airport. So I'm pretty calm to this point. And when we got to this airport in DeKalb County, Atlanta, got there, and of course, they identified us and everything. And shortly after that, this white Learjet-like plane was pulling around. And I thought about that for a moment, and I said, this is just to get me and my wife to another state to have a heart surgery. And I couldn't do nothing but thank God for it, because most people ain't afforded to have this kind of mechanism in place for them. But this was already prepared and waiting for me when this time and this phone call happened. So I remember I went inside. I wanted to get me a snack, but I couldn't. So I took a restroom break, and when I came back to the plane, and we got in the plane, my wife and I, and the medical person there, I asked, was she coming? And she said, no, just the pilots and you two. And when they began to close the door down in that plane, that's when it really hit me that, hey man, it's too late to go back the other way now. It's time for you to receive the gift that God has for you. So we took off, And probably in less than an hour, right at an hour, we were there. And when I got there, it was another vehicle waiting for me that my wife and I got in. They verified us. We went through the early morning traffic in Nashville. Once we got to Vanderbilt Hospital, I was rushed through the process and admitted to the hospital. And so now it's preparation time. It's in the morning, and by the time I meet the doctor who's going to perform the surgery, they had prepped me and everything. And a lot of people, I saw a lot of people, maybe one or two people that I recognized from going back and forth over the years. And of course, the nurses assured me we would be okay, but I had a sense of humor about it. And I just told them, hey, doc, when you go in, make sure you take this LVAD and all of that other stuff out now. Because I want to get my new organ. I don't want to have a hit. So I knew that I would be without that defibrillator. I knew I would be out without that LVAD at the time. So I remember when they came to the room and they started rolling me down to the elevator, and because the doctor that performed surgery, he was outside just walking back and forth, looking at his watch, knowing that it should be time to have his surgery soon. So now we're on the elevator, and when the doors open, that's when my wife had to go to a holding area, and it's just me. And so I told her I love her, and I would see her later. And they rolled me to the table, and the big light was on. It was all about them doing a surgery, that everything went well. When I woke up, it was a turn to the next day. So the only thing I remember is the anesthesiologist introducing themselves, and I think I answered one question. I was out. And my wife was manning my phone and her phone. Of course, everyone is concerned. Prayers going up, my friends, family, church family, and all of that. But all in all, it was worth it, because when I opened my eyes, I saw my wife, and I didn't know he would be there. But and I wasn't surprised, because he was there when I had my LVAD surgery. My youngest brother took a 6+ hour ride again to make sure that my wife wouldn't be by herself. So once I wake up, of course, I'm hooked up to a lot of things. But on the way up, I talked to a few of my friends who were up, who had received their hearts already that year. They were up for follow-ups. And of course, my wife called them and everything, and they came by to see me. And they told me, I told you, you was gonna get yours the same year we got ours. So I said that to say this, it's good to have support on a journey like this. I've had it for years now, but hasn't been a journey that I was able to do by myself. I'm just so happy to have received the gift that I received, and that is a heart. And I'm over 3 years in now, and I'm doing well. But like I said before, I had to change some things, but it's all been worth it, to have another chance at life. So if anybody else ever goes through a challenge like this, I wish you all the best. And I thank everyone. And Sister Lumpkin, I thank you for giving me a chance to just touch on a few things along my journey. And it's a pleasure always to talk about that. And one thing I would like to say, and it's one of my favorite scriptures, and it's in the book of Luke, 1st chapter, and verse 37. And it simply says, with God, nothing is impossible. So I'm a living witness to that, and I'm sure some more of you are also. So thank you, Sister Lumpkin, for the time that you've given me to speak on having congestive heart failure, but even more so, I'm a transplant recipient. I'm a heart transplant recipient. And I'm thankful for that. So I will turn it back over to you, and we'll proceed with the rest of the program today.
Thank you, Mr. Ben. Thank you so much. It was a delight to hear your journey. And we praise God for your journey. And we trust that you will continue to do well. And I know you will, because you're sharing your testimony to help somebody else. Now, there are some people that haven't been through a journey like you. But whatever they're going through, it's a blessing just to share with other people how God is faithful. And when he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. All he asks us to have patience. And you know, when he asks us to have patience, that's one of the hardest thing on earth to do, is to have patience. But yet he said, have patience and wait. Now, waiting have been so hard for me, but yet I have to wait on the Lord. Now, if you are on the line, unmute the people. If you're here and you would like to hear more of Mr. Ben Smith's testimony, we can schedule him back at a later date. All you have to do is contact Abundant Life Health Association, and we will have him back on a later date. We have this class every month. Next month will be Dr. Megan LeBon, and she's a naturopath. She's going to share her journey. As we continue in this journey, there are some people with Abundant Life members. We encourage you to send your membership in. And then if you're not a member, we welcome your donation so we can keep carrying this program, because we realize that God wants us to help people. And when we help people, it's a blessing. So continue to do what you can to help us and to help Abundant Life. No donation is too small. And of course, you know, it's too large. We take any amount. So you can send it to Abundant Life Health Association, or you can send it to a Cash App, Abundant Life Health Association. That's P.O. Box 490-247, Atlanta, Georgia. 490-247, Atlanta, Georgia, 30349, or you can do Cash App. And we thank you so much for tuning in with us, and we will see you next time on Abundant Life Health Association. And remember, your health is your wealth. Do all that you can to preserve it. Have a good evening. You got 5 chats now.